2026 is not arriving to test you. It is arriving to respond to you. This moment right now is the quiet space before form takes shape. Nothing in your life is random, delayed, or withheld. What you are about to experience has been waiting on one thing, your decision to become unmistakably clear. Aquarius, the next chapter is not something you chase. It is something you allow by aligning your thinking, your direction, and your discipline. This is the year where intention becomes structure and thought becomes fact. What follows is not motivation. It is instruction. The inner picture comes first. Before anything changes in your life, something must first take shape in your mind. This is not philosophy, and it is not inspiration. It is the operating system of reality. Every result you see, whether welcomed or unwanted, began as a mental image repeatedly entertained. For Aquarius, 2026 is the year this truth becomes undeniable. You are not standing on the edge of luck or fate. You are standing at the threshold of conscious creation. What you consistently imagine, emotionally accept, and quietly expect is already moving toward expression. Most people allow the outer world to dictate their inner picture. They wait for proof before belief, for evidence before confidence, for permission before commitment. But the law works in the opposite direction. The inner picture must be formed first, held steadily, and protected deliberately. Life does not respond to wishful thinking, it responds to dominant thought. When the mind is undecided, results are unstable. When the mind is clear, life has no choice but to organize itself accordingly. Aquarius carries a natural strength here, the ability to envision systems, futures, and possibilities others cannot yet see. But vision alone is not enough. An image casually visited has no power. The picture must be returned to daily, quietly, without argument. You do not force it. You do not rush it. You simply revisit it until it becomes familiar. Familiarity breeds acceptance, and acceptance dissolves resistance. Once the mind accepts something as normal, the subconscious begins its work without asking for permission. In 2026, the question is not whether you deserve what you want. The question is whether you can mentally live with it. Many people sabotage themselves not because they lack ability, but because their inner picture is smaller than their stated goals. They say they want more, but they secretly identify with less. The subconscious always sides with identity. If your self-image is outdated, your results will be delayed. Change the picture and the results will follow automatically. This inner picture must include not just what you have, but who you are. See yourself acting with calm authority. See yourself making decisions without apology. See yourself expecting progress as a normal outcome. The mind cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one when emotion is present. That is why repetition matters. Each time you return to the image, you reinforce it. Each time you doubt it, you weaken it. Neutral thinking does not exist. The mind is always moving towards something. Aquarius, understand this clearly. The world you are stepping into in 2026 is already rehearsed internally. If you rehearse limitation, uncertainty, or delay, life will faithfully perform that script. If you rehearse clarity, purpose, and confidence, the performance must change. You do not need to know how it will happen. The how is not your responsibility. The image is. The moment you assume responsibility for the picture, life assumes responsibility for the process. This is why discipline of thought is the highest form of discipline. It is easier to act occasionally than to think consistently, but thought is the root. Action without alignment creates exhaustion. Thought without clarity creates drift, but aligned thought produces inspired action naturally. When the inner picture is correct, behavior adjusts without force. You stop negotiating with yourself. You move with quiet certainty. Do not confuse this with fantasy. Fantasy is escape. A true inner picture is functional. It influences decisions, filters distractions, and shapes priorities. You begin to say no to things that no longer match who you see yourself becoming. You begin to say yes to opportunities that once intimidated you. The picture pulls you forward. You are not pushing against life, you are being drawn by alignment. In 2026, Aquarius, you are not waiting for signs. You are becoming the signal. The inner picture you hold consistently becomes instruction to the world. People respond differently. Opportunities appear without explanation. Timing improves without effort. This is not coincidence. It is congruence. When the inside and outside agree, friction disappears. Guard this inner picture carefully. Do not argue for it, do not defend it. Simply live from it. Doubt weakens when ignored. Confidence strengthens when practiced. Return to the image every morning before the world speaks to you. Revisit it at night when the mind is receptive. Let it settle. Let it normalize. What feels inevitable internally soon becomes visible externally. Remember this, you will never outperform your self-image, but you will always fulfill it. Change the image, and you change the outcome. 2026 does not demand effort first. It demands clarity, and clarity always begins within. Your direction determines your destination. Nothing moves forward by accident. Every outcome is the result of a direction chosen, either consciously or by default. In 2026, Aquarius is called to recognize that movement alone does not equal progress. Activity without aim only creates fatigue. Life does not reward motion, it rewards alignment. When your direction is clear, even small steps compound into significant results. When it is unclear, even great effort produces little change. Most people confuse intention with direction. Intention is what you hope for. Direction is what you are actually moving toward through daily decisions. Direction is revealed by how you spend your time, where your attention goes, and what you tolerate. You may speak about growth, but if your habits point elsewhere, life follows the habits, not the words. In 2026, Aquarius learns to tell the truth about direction, not with judgment, but with awareness. Awareness is the beginning of control. Direction requires decision, and decision requires courage. It is easier to keep options open than to commit to one path, but an open-ended life drifts. Clarity feels uncomfortable at first because it eliminates excuses. Once you decide where you are going, everything that does not support that destination becomes obvious. This is not loss, it is focus. You cannot travel in two directions at once and expect to arrive anywhere meaningful. Aquarius possesses a natural tendency to explore possibilities, to question systems, to imagine alternatives. This is a strength, but in 2026 it must be disciplined. Exploration without selection leads to delay. The year asks you to choose a direction that reflects who you are becoming, not who you have been. Past success does not guarantee future fulfillment. Direction must be updated as identity evolves. What once felt right may now feel restrictive, and that discomfort is a signal, not a failure. Once direction is chosen, momentum begins to build. The mind relaxes because it no longer needs to debate every choice. Decisions become faster, simpler, and calmer. When direction is firm, distractions lose their appeal. You stop asking, "Is this good?" and start asking, "Does this move me where I've decided to go?" This single question eliminates confusion and preserves energy. Energy, when focused, becomes power. Time responds differently when direction is clear. Opportunities appear relevant instead of random. People enter your life who align with your path. Even setbacks serve a purpose, redirecting you instead of stopping you. This is not luck, it is orientation. When you know where you're headed, you can interpret events accurately. Without direction, everything feels like interference. With direction, everything becomes information. In 2026, Aquarius must also understand that direction is reinforced through repetition. A decision made once but not lived daily weakens. Direction must be chosen again each morning through behavior. What you read, what you listen to, what you allow into your environment, all of it either strengthens or dilutes your aim. Direction is not maintained by force, but by consistency. Small daily confirmations keep it alive. There will be moments when progress feels slow. This does not mean you are off course. Growth often occurs beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Direction keeps you steady during these periods. Without it, doubt takes over and causes unnecessary changes. Many people fail not because they chose the wrong direction, but because they abandoned the right one too soon. Patience is loyalty to your own decision. Aquarius, understand that direction also shapes identity. As you move consistently toward a chosen destination, you begin to see yourself differently. Confidence grows not from results alone, but from self-trust. Each day you honor your direction, you prove to yourself that you can be relied upon. This self-trust becomes a foundation no external circumstance can shake. Do not wait for certainty before choosing direction. Certainty comes after movement, not before it. Choose based on alignment, not fear. Fear always points backward or sideways. Direction points forward. In 2026, progress belongs to those who decide, move, adjust, and continue. Perfection is not required. Persistence is. Remember this: your destination is not a place. It is a state of being. Direction is the bridge between intention and reality. When you choose it deliberately and walk it consistently, life responds with cooperation. The path does not need to be visible all at once. It only needs to be true. And once direction is true, arrival becomes inevitable. Discipline is self-respect in action. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, punishment, or pressure. In truth, discipline is none of these. Discipline is a declaration of self-respect. It is the decision to live in alignment with what you value most, regardless of temporary moods or shifting circumstances. In 2026, Aquarius is called to redefine discipline, not as control imposed from the outside, but as order chosen from within. When discipline is self-directed, it becomes liberating rather than limiting. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. Discipline reverses this pattern. It acts first and allows motivation to follow. Feelings are unstable. They rise and fall with environment, energy, and emotion. Discipline remains steady. It is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, reliable, and consistent. The life you want does not respond to occasional effort. It responds to dependable behavior. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are. For Aquarius, discipline is especially important because of your natural independence and resistance to external authority. You are not designed to be forced, but this same trait makes self-discipline essential. Without structure, freedom turns into distraction. With structure, freedom becomes focus. Discipline does not remove choice. It simplifies it. When your habits are aligned, you no longer debate with yourself each day. You simply follow the pattern you've already chosen. In 2026, discipline will show up in small, almost unnoticeable decisions. Choosing to begin when it would be easier to delay. Choosing consistency over intensity. Choosing preparation over reaction. These choices may not feel heroic, but they are transformative. Great results are rarely produced by great acts. They are produced by ordinary acts performed faithfully over time. Discipline is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters, even when no one is watching. Self-respect grows through follow-through. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence strengthens. Each time you break one, doubt quietly takes its place. This is why discipline affects self-image so profoundly. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall or rise to the level of your habits. Habits are simply discipline made automatic. In 2026, Aquarius builds a future by building routines that support it. Discipline also creates emotional stability. When your life has order, your mind has space. Chaos drains energy. Predictable structure restores it. Knowing when you work, when you rest, and when you reflect reduces internal friction. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. This calm authority is one of the most powerful states a person can inhabit. It does not demand attention, yet it commands respect, from others and from yourself. There will be resistance. Discipline always encounters it at first. The mind protests change because familiarity feels safe, even when it is unproductive. Do not interpret resistance as a sign you are doing something wrong. Resistance is confirmation that you are stepping beyond old patterns. The discomfort fades as the new behavior becomes familiar. What once required effort soon requires only intention. Aquarius, discipline is not about denying yourself pleasure. It is about choosing lasting satisfaction over momentary relief. Short-term comfort often leads to long-term frustration. Discipline reverses that exchange. It may feel challenging in the moment, but it delivers peace later. This is the trade that successful people understand. They pay the price now so they do not pay it forever. In 2026, discipline also means knowing when to stop. Rest is not weakness, it is maintenance. Sustainable discipline includes recovery, reflection, and renewal. Burnout is not a badge of honor, it is a sign of imbalance. True discipline listens to the body and respects limits. When effort and rest are balanced, progress becomes steady instead of sporadic. Do not attempt to discipline everything at once. Choose a few keystone behaviors and protect them. One disciplined hour can change an entire day. One disciplined day can shift a year. Momentum grows from success, not overload. Start where you are and improve gradually. Discipline thrives on clarity, not pressure. Remember this: no one can take away what you build through discipline. Talent can fade. Circumstances can change. But self-respect earned through consistent action becomes permanent. In 2026, Aquarius does not wait to feel ready. You act with intention, knowing that readiness is created through action. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the path to it. You become what you repeatedly say. Every word you speak is doing more than filling silence. It is shaping belief, reinforcing identity, and giving direction to your subconscious mind. Speech is not neutral. It either builds or erodes. In 2026, Aquarius is asked to recognize that language is a creative force, not a casual habit. What you say repeatedly becomes what you accept as true, and what you accept as true becomes what you live. Most people speak reactively. They describe circumstances as they appear, not realizing that description strengthens the very conditions they want to change. When you talk about limitation, struggle, or delay, you are not merely reporting, you are rehearsing. The subconscious does not evaluate truth. It records repetition. Whatever is said often enough begins to feel familiar, and whatever feels familiar becomes believable. Belief, once formed, directs behavior automatically. Aquarius has a sharp mind and a strong voice. This makes language especially powerful for you. Your words carry conviction, even when spoken casually. In 2026, awareness of this power becomes essential. You must move from unconscious speech to intentional speech. This does not mean denying reality. It means choosing which reality you are reinforcing. You can acknowledge a challenge without naming it as permanent. You can describe a setback without declaring it an identity. Repeated speech becomes internal dialogue. Long after words are spoken aloud, they continue echoing inside. This inner conversation shapes confidence, expectation, and emotional tone. If your internal dialogue is critical, hesitant, or pessimistic, it will quietly undermine progress. If it is calm, certain, and constructive, it will support action without strain. The voice you hear most often is your own, and it deserves discipline. In 2026, Aquarius learns to replace hopeful language with decisive language. Saying, "I hope," implies uncertainty. Saying, "I am," establishes identity. Saying, "I'll try," leaves room for retreat. Saying, "I will," commits the mind to action. The subconscious responds to clarity. When instructions are clear, execution improves. This is not about arrogance or exaggeration. It is about alignment. Speak from the future you are building, not the past you are leaving. Words also influence emotion. Emotion influences behavior. When you speak calmly about your goals, your nervous system responds with stability. When you speak anxiously, the body prepares for threat. Many people sabotage themselves by verbally overstimulating fear and doubt. In 2026, Aquarius learns that emotional regulation begins with verbal regulation. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change what you say. Consistency matters more than intensity. A single powerful affirmation means little if it is drowned out by hours of careless talk. Your dominant language wins. This includes private speech, complaints whispered, jokes made at your own expense, explanations that shrink your potential. None of these are harmless. They accumulate. The mind believes what it hears most often. This is why silence can be as powerful as speech. Not every thought needs a voice. In 2026, Aquarius gains strength by pausing before speaking. Ask yourself, does this language reinforce who I am becoming or who I have been? If it does not serve your direction, release it. Discipline of speech is discipline of thought. Words spoken about others also matter. How you describe people, situations, and opportunities reveals your mindset. Speaking respectfully, even in disagreement, maintains internal order. Cynicism may sound intelligent, but it weakens belief. Optimism, when grounded, strengthens endurance. Choose language that expands possibility rather than contracts it. Over time, intentional speech reshapes identity. You begin to hear yourself differently. Confidence grows not from external praise, but from internal consistency. When your words and actions align, self-trust deepens. You no longer need to convince others. You are convinced yourself. In 2026, Aquarius does not wait for results before speaking with certainty. Certainty is practiced through language. Speak as someone who expects progress. Speak as someone who understands timing. Speak as someone who knows that effort compounds. This way of speaking trains the mind to cooperate instead of resist. Remember this, your life listens to you. Every repeated phrase is a vote cast for the future you will inhabit. Choose your words with care, not fear. Calm, deliberate, and consistent language will quietly build a reality that matches it. What you repeatedly say, you eventually become. Service is the shortcut to abundance. True abundance is not found in accumulation alone. It is discovered in the energy you release into the world, the value you create, and the ways you lift others while pursuing your own growth. In 2026, Aquarius is called to understand that generosity is not optional. It is essential. The more attention you place on giving, contributing, and solving problems, the more life reciprocates. Service is not a sacrifice. It is a strategic alignment with the natural flow of prosperity. Many people pursue success by taking first and giving later, believing that accumulation precedes contribution. This is an inversion of reality. Life operates on a law far older than ambition. What you provide comes back multiplied. The universe is responsive, not reactive. When you focus on elevating others, you attract resources, opportunities, and relationships that are otherwise inaccessible. In 2026, Aquarius learns that your impact is the currency of your future, and value created outside yourself always returns in kind. Service does not mean abandoning your goals, nor does it imply endless selflessness. It means aligning effort with the needs of others, contributing solutions where your skills, insights, or talents create transformation. The act of giving produces feedback loops you cannot manufacture through effort alone. Each problem solved, each life improved, each contribution made plants a seed of influence. The seeds eventually grow into circumstances that support your own expansion. Aquarius, you naturally think in systems, ideas, and innovations. This capacity becomes a powerful tool when directed toward service. Solutions you develop, guidance you offer, or networks you build for others all act as magnets for your own growth. Abundance is rarely a solo journey. It multiplies in the ecosystem of shared progress. In 2026, your intelligence, creativity, and insight reach their highest potential when applied toward enhancing the world around you. The psychology of service is also profound. Focusing outward removes the obsession with lack, fear, or comparison. It shifts perspective from what am I missing to what can I create. The mind, when oriented toward giving, is aligned with possibility. Generosity sharpens focus, improves problem solving, and even rewires perception. You begin to notice opportunities, connections, and solutions that were invisible when the mind was inwardly fixated. Service is, in essence, an internal recalibration toward abundance. Consistency is key. Occasional acts of service may inspire gratitude, but they do not establish the rhythm of influence. In 2026, Aquarius must integrate contribution into daily life. The smallest, consistent action compounds over time. A moment spent helping, guiding, or improving a system may seem insignificant now, but it triggers a chain reaction. Opportunities, resources, and alliances accumulate quietly until they create undeniable momentum. This is the natural law of giving that the world seldom explains but always obeys. Service also demands authenticity. Giving without alignment or offering value for the sake of recognition rarely produces lasting results. Life can detect inauthenticity as easily as you detect truth. True service flows from clarity about your purpose and a desire to apply it effectively. In 2026, Aquarius thrives when your contributions reflect both skill and integrity. Value created with intelligence and heart cannot be ignored. It attracts not only abundance, but trust, loyalty, and influence. One of the greatest lessons of service is the understanding that what you send out returns not always immediately and not always in the form you expect. Often, the universe pays in opportunity, connection, or personal growth long before financial reward appears. Patience becomes essential. Trust in the process. Your efforts are never wasted, even if invisible at first. Every act of contribution builds a foundation on which larger success rests. Service also teaches humility and perspective. By focusing on others' needs, you recognize interdependence, and with it, clarity about your own goals. This prevents arrogance, impatience, and entitlement from taking root. Abundance achieved through contribution feels secure because it is anchored in value, not luck or force. When you contribute, you are investing in a return that is guaranteed by natural law, not circumstance. Aquarius 2026 is a year to refine your vision of contribution. Identify where your skills have the greatest impact. Seek ways to make tasks easier, systems more effective, or people stronger. Solve problems even when unnoticed, because the act itself amplifies influence. This is how the universe multiplies effort. Generosity is never neutral. It shifts reality, opens doors, and accelerates results. Finally, understand that service is not a sidestep from personal ambition. It is the most direct path to it. By enhancing the lives of others, you align with abundance, expand influence, and build resources naturally. In this year, every thoughtful act, every problem solved, every solution offered is a brick in the foundation of your own success. What you give freely, intelligently, and consistently returns to you amplified, in forms both tangible and invisible. Remember this: in 2026, abundance is less about taking and more about becoming indispensable through service. Your focus on contribution creates a reality in which wealth, opportunity, and fulfillment are natural outcomes. Life does not merely reward effort, it rewards meaningful impact. Service is not a detour from your path, it is the path itself, the shortcut to abundance that never fails when followed with sincerity, consistency, and vision.